Hi everyone, this is Sean. I'm going to answer a subscriber question, and I think it came from him. This is Nightmare223, which is actually a pretty cool subscriber account name. His question, and I think it came from him, I could be wrong. His question is whether or not you're able, as an armed private security officer in California, whether you can go to a restaurant, eat with your uniform on, and wear your exposed firearm during your breaks. This could be your 10-minute break, perhaps your lunch break. He wanted to know whether or not you can do this, because this has been known to be a gray area. And this is an area of concern, and that's what we're going to talk about today. You might hear some noise in the background. I got my kid, again, running around. But please, if you could get past the fan noise and my kid, then I think you're going to like this presentation. And if you find this presentation helpful, please forward this video to whoever you can. Maybe someone else works in private security. They're arguing that there's not a gray area. Send them this video just to spread a little bit more knowledge. A little bit more knowledge will not help. Guys and gals, in mentioning penal codes and what the law states, I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice as well. I know in other videos there's one or two people that comment, why should I even listen to this video? The warning sign is, he said that this is not legal or professional advice. Yes, I'm going to say it again. It is not legal or professional advice. I'm saying that to protect myself, because I'm not responsible for any of your legal mistakes. So there could be errors or omissions in this video. There could be some things that I don't mention. The facts could be different in your situation. I am not legally responsible. Make sure that you bring the information that I have today that I present in this video. You present this to an attorney and see if the law applies in certain circumstances that you might ordinarily expect. Your circumstances might be different than other people. So please talk to a licensed attorney. If you follow, because this video can contain errors or omissions, if you follow my advice to the T, there could be costly litigation. It could lead to criminal penalties. It could lead to civil penalties. I know I may have turned some of you guys off, but that's a proper disclosure that you have to give when you give to an audience who you know nothing about. You guys probably know more about me than I know about you. The YouTube platform is not 100% totally interactive. You can see what my credentials are because I explain them to you in other videos, but it's hard for me to see what your credentials are as well. So now that we got out of the disclaimer, now we got the disclaimer out of the way, let's talk about what the Penal Code tells us. Okay, so look, in California, we are not an open carry state. We got that right, or that privilege, taken away years ago when we had people that were openly carrying without a magazine in the well of the gun, without a loaded gun. This state is no longer an open carry state. So under Penal Code, California Penal Code 25850, and I will leave links to all of these sections in the description box as soon as I have some time. I will do that so you can verify the information I'm giving you. So 25850 subsection A tells us that a person is guilty of carrying a loaded firearm when the person carries a loaded firearm on the person or in a vehicle while in any public place or on any public street in an incorporated city, or any public place or any public street in a prohibited area of unincorporated territory. So if you are out in public and you're not on property that you're supposed to be protecting, this is a section that a police officer might use against you, is 25850. Now, the issue with 25850 is it talks about carrying a loaded firearm in any public place or on any public street in any incorporated city, or any public place or in any public street in a prohibited area of an unincorporated territory. So this is public place or public street. Okay, if the legislator intended this section to include places that are open to the public, such as your retail centers, restaurants, which are open to the public, then they would have included that in this code. That is my opinion. But because they're just talking about public places or public streets, based on this section alone, if you are at a restaurant, which is probably at a public place, private place, okay, it's on private property, you are fine, okay, according to this section, because it doesn't talk about places that are open to the public. If you are in another property, a mall parking lot, that's not property that you're supposed to be protecting. You're in there because there's a Del Taco or El Pollo Loco or something like that over there. This section doesn't cover you, and I can't think of any other section that would cover you. Actually, there's brandishing, brandishing the firearm, but your guns should be in the holster if you're having lunch. Okay? So that was 25850. I encourage you, also, if you disagree with anything that I'm saying, please cite a section, case law, something, so that we can have an intelligent argument about this. Now, I'm going to direct you to the BSIS Firearms Training Manual, page 68 and 69. The manual was updated in January 2022. At the bottom of page 68, it says this. Note, PC 26030A10 allows a guard with a BSIS firearm permit and a uniform to carry an exposed loaded firearm while in direct route to and from their residence and place of employment, or to employer required range training. Any clothing, example, jacket, sweatshirt, etc., that covers the firearm could be considered by law enforcement as the weapon being concealed. Now we're on page 69. So what they're telling you is this, and please refer to the link I'm going to give you, page 68 and 69. Don't take my word for it. It says that the 26030A10 allows a guard with a BSIS firearm permit and a uniform to carry an exposed loaded firearm while in direct route to and from their residence and place of employment or employer required range training. So according to here, if you have 10 places on your route to patrol, your patrol officer, security, there's location A and there's location B. These are different properties located in different parts of town. You are at location A, you're leaving location A, and there is a place to eat that is nowhere on property that you are protecting. If you stop at El Pollo Loco or In-N-Out, stop there, get something to eat. You have your duty belt on, your gun exposed, and your uniform on. Are you allowed to do this? Okay, are you allowed to stop at that place? Well, let's talk about 26030A10. Now, it tells us that as long as we are in direct route to and from the residence and place of employment or to employer range training. We're not going to employer range training. We're not going home, right? But are we going to or from a place of employment? So an argument can be made that location A is a place of employment and location B is another place of employment. We haven't made it yet to location B, but we stopped at Del Taco or In-N-Out, wherever you want to eat. Well, my argument is, if I'm the licensed private security officer, my argument is that I can stop at El Pollo Loco, because El Pollo Loco is a place that's located directly to or from one place of employment to another. Now, a lot of people don't like it when I talk about the defense and I talk about what people don't like it when I take two sides. So I usually take a defense side of a criminal matter and a prosecutor side to another matter. Prosecutor is going to argue that I am not going from one place of employment to another place of employment because I stopped, okay? I stopped and I went to go eat. That's somewhere that's nowhere at my place of employment. The defense is going to argue, your defense attorney, if this ends up happening to you, you end up getting charged with carrying a loaded firearm in a public place, your defense attorney is going to argue that you are going directly from point A to point B. Okay? I want to reiterate or clarify, he's not going to say you were going directly, but you're going to. Okay? Another thing is this BSIS Firearm Training Manual has a lot of errors and omissions. On or about the year 1999, maybe 2000, I received my exposed firearm permit. And you want to know something? In the manual that I read during those years, they told us also that we have to be in direct route to or from the place of employment or the residence or a range. Okay? They use the words directly. And you know what? That's not correct. This manual contains errors or omissions. Why is it for over 20 years nobody noticed? You really want to know why? Because some of you who are watching this video, you guys are sheep. You allow the state to do whatever they want to overregulate you, and you just sit on your couch and you take what's coming to you. You are the sheep that is in the middle of a field waiting to be slaughtered by all the wolves and coyotes that are going to come after you. You don't look up, you don't look to the right, you just look down and eat your grass. That's what a lot of you guys are doing. Most of you guys are doing that. And it's a shame because I get a lot of people from command staff that watch my videos. I get lieutenants, commanders, captains, chiefs, sheriffs that watch these videos. And again, you guys just continue to sit where you're at like a bunch of sheep. Okay, let's move on here. I'm going to show you why I believe that the word direct was a term that was inserted into the BSIS Firearm Training Manual for over 20 years. Why this was intentional. The reason why this is intentional is this. This gives BSIS more authority. Okay, this manual gives them more authority. If they can put in their own words, directly to or from the place of employment, residence, or range, that gives them more power to regulate you. It gives them a lot more power just by adding that one word, direct. That word was placed there intentionally because I'm going to cite the Penal Code that these jokesters cited, which is Penal Code 26030, subsection A10. And please follow along with me. So subsection A10 says this. Uniformed security guards regularly employed and compensated in that capacity by persons engaged in any lawful business, and uniformed alarm agents employed by an alarm company operator actually engaged in protecting and preserving the property of their employers, or on duty en route to or from their residences or their places of employment, and security guards and alarm agents en route to or from their residences or employer required range training. Where the hell does it say here that you have to be in direct route? As a matter of fact, it says on duty or en route. Where does it say that? Where does it say direct route in the California Penal Code? It doesn't. It doesn't. The state added this language in. Now, some of you might be wondering, Sean, how are they able to do this? Very simple. The legislator, they pass these bills. The governor signs them. The language goes over to BSIS, the Bureau of Security Investigative Services, and they are tasked with policy making. They design policies. They design the manual. Part of the policy making process is creating a manual, a firearms permit training manual. When you do that, when you're able to develop policy based on legislation, you're able to develop a manual, you can become overreaching. The law never says direct route. You guys at BSIS made that up. So that makes that for over 20 years, at least over 20 years, armed private security officers have been misled. Now, if I am wrong, for some of you who don't like it when I talk about politics, you start crying, complaining on the comment section below, or you unsubscribe. Which is fine with me as well. You guys can't point me in another direction. You guys can't lead me to the facts. You guys can't lead me to another side of case law, or California statutes. You guys just get confused. You get frustrated, and you tell me just to stop talking about politics. I'll never stop talking about politics on this channel. As long as I see a bureaucracy doing this crap, becoming overreaching, and making up what they're essentially doing is making up their own laws. You see, when a private security officer gets detained or even arrested by a police officer, who is overreaching also, by the way, if you're going to arrest a security officer who's just trying to have a lunch just because he happens to be armed, the police officer is going to cite the California Penal Code. And this officer is going to cite 26030A10, which says that the security guard has to be on duty or en route to or from their residences or place of employment. That's what the officer is going to say. You, as a private security officer, you're going to say, no, I'm relying on page 68 and 69 of the 2022 BSIS Firearm Training Manual, where it says that I could be in direct route to or from the residence. It says that in the manual. You think the police officer is going to say, oh, let me look at the manual? You're right. See this. You know the manual more than most police officers. And this is something that you're going to pull up maybe on your phone. Police officers not going to have the BSIS training manual on their computer ready to pop up. They're going to pull up 26030. Okay? And also this manual, they should have also cited 26030A subsection 7, which says uniform employees of private patrol operators, and I'm going to paraphrase, while acting within the course and scope of their employment. They should have cited both sections because both apply. Now, some of you might be looking far into this. I don't know. I mean, there's always somebody that looks far into this, which is good. I want you to be highly critical on me and highly critical on the state. But somebody reading into this are going to say, wait a minute. Subsection A10 refers to the guard preserving the property of their employers, and they're directly to or route from their place of employment. Well, your place of employment is your security office that's on record. It's not necessarily the contract property. And then that's where your argument, that's where you're going to argue, wait a minute, this is my place of employment because of the law of agency. This is a legal theory in contract law. And again, I'm not an attorney. I'm just mentioning what my understanding of contract law is. There's something called law of agency. As a security officer who is hired to protect a contracted property, you become, in a way, an employee of that vendor, of that client. Now, there is limited liability on your part, but you're a de facto employee of that property, and then that's something that's a point that you're going to have to argue. Okay, but subsection 7 helps us a lot. Now, look at this, guys. If you're an employer and you have armed guards, something I want you to consider is this: have a policy in place. Discuss this policy. Sorry, my camera's moving a little bit too much. Have a policy in place which allows your officers to eat at places armed while in uniform, as long as this place is near one of the properties that they patrol. At least have a policy in place. Now, on the other end, this policy could work against you because now you're allowing your guards to go off property and eat elsewhere. That's why I want you to talk to an attorney. I don't think it's necessarily the best idea if you want to cover your employees, this is the way to go. This is going to help them, because now the employee could say, wait a minute, subsection 7 says that as a condition of employment, my employer allows me to eat off the property, which is well within the scope and course of my employment, just as subsection 7 states. Now, for employers, yes, this can definitely incur, you can incur liability depending on how your accounts are set up. That's why I want you to talk to an attorney. Even if you try to get a hold of me offline through email, or you call me, my answer is still going to be get a hold of an attorney. See what they say about this. Okay, let's wrap this up. Guys and gals, most police officers are not going to go ask you whether or not you're on duty, whether or not the restaurant that you're eating at, if that's your contracted property to patrol. They're not going to ask you that most of the time. And if they do, there's a serious issue with that particular law enforcement officer. Now, look, if you're out there causing problems at these restaurants, you're demanding discounts, you're getting arguments with the waiter or waitresses, you're causing scenes or conflict with people, you're getting in these disputes, arguments, then in that case, if I am the law enforcement officer, I am going to push that issue. If you're creating problems at these restaurants you go to, or even 7-Eleven, even these simple disputes that you're having with people, if the restaurant shortchanges you, and they're adamant that they did not shortchange you, you lose. I don't want you guys going over there, start arguing, causing a scene. Don't be doing that. You're gonna mess up for other people. But if I'm the law enforcement officer and I have to respond to that restaurant because you're causing a scene, some type of disturbance, then I'm gonna push the carrying a loaded firearm in a public place issue a little bit more. Now, I did talk about whether or not this restaurant is in a public place. There's so many other circumstances that are going to revolve around why you're there. Like I said, I can push the issue, but again, I need to have probable cause, and I can't make up probable cause as well. Police officers cannot lie. Peace officers cannot lie. But if I'm able to push the loaded firearm in a public place issue, then I will. I'm going to do some more work, but I'm going to push the issue. If I can't push it enough, then I'll just leave it. I will probably end up contacting BSIS and letting them know what the issue is. And I hope this sounds fair. Let me know if you guys agree with what I'm saying. I know that most of you agree. Some of you don't agree. I just want the majority of you guys to understand that most law enforcement will leave you alone as long as you're not creating a problem. So once again, if they start asking you, if you were never creating a problem, and let's just say that officer is going to a restaurant and just wants to start asking you questions about why you're there, my statement's going to be restricted to I'm working security on duty. That's it. I don't need to give no further. If they want a copy of my guard card, firearm permit, baton permit, I give them all that. That's fine. They want a copy of the contract, I'm not obligated to do that as well. Let me think right now if we're forgetting anything else. So right now you guys are asking me, can I go out to a restaurant or not? That's not on my post. Guys, it is still a gray area. It depends on how you articulate it. I am not going to be able to be there out with you guys and articulate why you're at the restaurant. Again, you can always argue that your employer allows you to eat off the post. And you can also argue that, hey, the restaurant owner allowed me to be here. Guys, if the restaurant owner allows you to be there, that's great. And it's not a bad thing when you go in there, just say, hey, can I talk to the manager in charge right now? Hey, I'm private security. Do you mind if I just sit here in the back and just finish my meal? I'll be about 15, 20 minutes. You guys, most managers will probably say yes. They get free armed security. Now, obviously, you shouldn't be acting if there's an incident, but to them, you're a visual deterrent to crime. Same thing with 7-Eleven. Just ask, hey, you know what? Do you mind if I come in here every day around this time especially 7-Elevens. You guys, the 7-Elevens want you to be there. The liquor stores want you to be there, okay? So, you know, ask for permission, because you start asking for permission, you can always say to law enforcement, hey, you know what? I was given permission to be here by the manager, and that helps a lot. Whenever you go to a restaurant or places off the property, also, you guys, this normally becomes an incident if there's some type of shooting or some type of physical force encounter. Please stay away from shootings, physical force encounters. Walk away from all that stuff as much as you can. You know, on the post, it's a little bit more difficult, but on property that you're not supposed to be there anyways, or you shouldn't be there anyways, don't get involved in that crap. You guys, don't. Okay, don't. Especially if you're on a public street and you're going from location A to B. Remember, that law specifically says, I think it says public streets or public places. I don't have the code right now in front of me, but a public street, a public location is clearly a place open. I'm sorry, it's clearly a public place. A roadway, public roadway is clearly a public place. Try your best not to get into a shooting or some type of altercation, you guys. You gotta be really careful. Again, that's okay. That's all I have, you guys. If you guys have any additional information, maybe I didn't clear something enough, or you have other information to show me that I am wrong, send me an email if you want. Comment. I'm looking forward to the dialogue. And you guys, I am not going to get offended if you contact me and tell me, hey, you're wrong because A, B, or C. I'm not. And also, guys, I want to apologize for bashing those of you who are formerly in the command staff, lieutenant, commander, captain, chief. It's just that I get so passionate about some of these things, and I know that you guys worked your butt off to get to where you're at in your former careers or even current careers. The education that you had to go, that you had to obtain. You worked so hard, and you fought so hard to get to where you're at, and it's so frustrating when I see that motivation and that enthusiasm, when I see it lost when you start your private business. And I know that you don't want to get back involved into some of the battles that you've been to in your life. But again, I just see, I talk to a lot of you guys, and I see what type of accomplishments you guys have been through. A lot of you guys have been through the FBI Academy. That's an awesome academy to go through. And it frustrates me to see you guys go through all these leadership courses and show awesome leadership, and then you get a private sector and you kind of want to coast along and not rattle anybody's feathers, so to speak. I just kind of wish there was a little bit more fight with these bureaucracies. But again, I apologize if I offended any of you guys. Take care and be safe.